Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division with various wins for the Quail Hollow and the President's Cup here in Golf Clash the game. This is the first time we do have a real course in Golf Clash, and this is going to be super exciting to play the Quail Hollow, and hopefully you can see the view in the back here as well and get you even more excited. And here in this playthrough you will see me play all the 9 holes, giving you my best initial advice on how to crush it from the front tee. But before we start, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that do want to take an extra step in your game, tour play or tournament play, you go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and do like more than 2,000 players this month that's already done to get any of our packages. You can start as low as $2.50. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. We start off hole number 1, Quail Hollow, with a par 3, and here we're gonna go for a rough bump. Now you may be thinking, why didn't you do that in the golden shot? It's because I didn't really have the club to do that. It would be an in-between club situation. But now when we are able to pick what ball we can play with, then this is going to be the play, because it will allow us to have a ball guideline even with worse clubs such as the backbone and such, and we don't have to rely on just having like a Grizzly 7 plus or a B52 level 6 plus. So I'm aiming with the top of the yellow ring by the rough line, spin to be approximately 2 green squares short of pin, and adjustment is max plus 10. I'm using a katana in headwind because I don't want to pull into overpower. If I would be having a crosswind or a tailwind, I would stick with a power 1 or even a power 0 ball. Bounces nicely into the rough and it rolls down onto the green and dead center for a hole in 1 here to start with on hole number 1 of the Quail Hollow. Hole number 2 of the Quail Hollow, and here we're going to try to push the ball to be as close to the green as possible. I'm using a power 3 ball to allow me in this headwind to reduce the amount of overpower that would otherwise be necessary if we would be starting further back. Here you also have a lot more value in playing with a driver that do have more curl, because having more curl would allow you to use more topspin, and then you can get yourself further up the fairway and you can then be closer to the green and have a much easier attack towards getting the eagle. Maximum distance plus 10 using all the left spin, all the top spin and all the curl. So super simple in that way. Now for the second shot, for those of you that do have low level clubs, then this approach is definitely for you, because this is a max backspin shot, whereof that I first look to do a rough bump. The issue here is that I'm not having the top spin enough to get the ball guideline through hole, and I would say if you do have the possibility with your short iron to do a rough bump, I would do the rough bump over a backspin shot, because it's more consistent, and it's when it is a short iron, it's not many rings, which means that it's a very risk-free way of playing. But max backspin, half a bar of right, and I'm aiming with my second bounce a little bit left of the pin and obviously above the pin, because now we're gonna roll back. Adjustment is gonna be true distance with a minus 10% elevation, as we're playing slightly uphill. And what is also important here to say is that playing this type of play is completely risk-free, as you do have all the backspin. Even if you miss the pin here, you're still gonna roll back and you're gonna get yourself a short and sweet birdie putt. But if everything goes your way, then you get yourself an eagle here on hole number 2 of the Quail Hollow. On the drive here, if you do not have a drive such as the Thor's Hammer in a decent level, or Extra Mile in a decent level, or Apocalypse in a decent level, then big topper, all the topspin that you can, play with a power 5 ball, as here we do want to reach as far down as possible. Adjust this max no elevation, and we are going to here go with max overpower. And obviously playing with such a bad accuracy club such as the big topper is going to be scary if you do hit great left, especially if you hit such a bad great left that I'm doing here. But it's still super fine. There's a wide fairway and it's just straightforward. I mean, there isn't really anything else to say about this, because you shall just try to get yourself as far down the fairway possible, and the closer you are to green, the easier it will be to get yourself the eagle, because this one being from the front tee over 700 yards, this is going to be an eagle only. It's not going to be an albatross. Sure, maybe if we have a tailwind off tee, we could push and might get ourselves a look at albatross, but in general, this is just going to be an eagle play. Now, here you can decide, either you're using overpower to bounce over the rough with your second bounce, or you do like I'm doing here in the video, where you are bouncing on the fairway into the rough to roll out for a controlled way of getting to a wedge. Up to you to decide, because there is value in doing both of it, or there is risks of doing both. Max plus 10, and using all the topspin that I can on my big dog. Obviously, if you have a wood club with more topspin than that, that's just going to be better. Looking at the third shot as well, just as reference, we're going to play with I'm playing with a Firefly here. I like the Firefly, especially when I do have a lot of topspin, because it allows me to make just minimal adjustments, especially when the wind are so low. And can then have a much better chance for a drop, whereof if I wouldn't be using all the topspin, I would have to aim closer to the pin, and that would mean that I would have to adjust more. So here you can see I'm just leaving the ball guideline to be just outside the cup on the right, and we're getting ourselves drop here. And again, I'm saying drop because in the wind that we had off tee, an eagle is most definitely a drop here on hole number 3 of the Quail Hollow. Hole number 4 of Quail Hollow, we are going to play on a fairway that slopes a lot right to left. So having a lot of side spin will be very helpful. I'm pushing this drive maybe a little bit harder than what people think you should, but I see value in pushing hard here, trying to get closer to the green, because being far away by that sloped fairway just before the green, it's going to be difficult to get anything consistent from far distance. So I'm using all the right spin, I'm using a couple of bars of top spin, and then using all the curl to the right. Now I forget to add a little bit more overpower due to dropping down into the bunker, because we are still fine, and we're getting around 320 to 330 yards. So the side spin and the curl definitely helps, because otherwise it will be very easy to fall down into the rough on the left. Obviously playing with a driver that have more curl is going to be much easier than to handle, and then you can push with even more topspin, because the more curl you have, the more topspin you can use, and the further up you can get on the fairway. Max plus 10 when it comes to the drive. Second shot then. Now, you know me. I mean, I'm enjoying rough bumps, and we're gonna do a rough bump here also. Why? It's because a rough bump will give us the best chance for a drop, and that's why you are watching this playthrough. Sure, if you're looking to just have a safe birdie, use all the backspin that you have on your wood club and get yourself to bounce on the fairway on the right up towards the green. The problem with bouncing on that fairway is that it's going to be very difficult to get yourself a drop from there, especially when it slopes like you can see here that it does. So that's why the rough bump is going to be the best way to attack the pin. 3 right spin and then top spin to get through the hole. I'm aiming close to the rough line when it is headwind. It's because I do have a compressed ball guideline, whereof if I would be having a tailwind, I would be aiming further back, and a crosswind also a little bit further back. No elevation, true club distance is what we're using. Hit perfect, and you will always be around the hole. We bounces on the fairway and just missed on the left hand side. Hole number 4, a little technical but fun par 4 here of the Quail Hollow. Hole number 5 of Quail Hollow from front tee. We are going to play a rough bump for the best chance for an hole-in-one. 5 topspin and 1 left spin. I'm using a Goliath because my backbone does not have 5 bars of topspin and I don't want to fall short in line. Leaving the ball guideline shorter of pin here to compensate for the lesser ball guideline that I have, but also that we do have some tailwind. If having headwind and crosswind, I would be aiming at the hole. Medium distance plus 20, and that is 1 ring in total. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this will be a good chance. If you don't want to play the rough bump, you can play a standard bounce over. The difficult part with the bounce over is that you're going to have to then adapt for the secondary bounce wind effect, but also the fact that you don't have a good ball guideline all of the time. It's only if you do have the Grizzly level 7 or better, or B52 level 7 or better, where you have a perfect ball guideline, then obviously the bounce over is not going to be that difficult compared to the rough bump. But other than that, the rough bump is most definitely the best chance for you to get an hole-in-one. For Quail Hollow, hole number 6, a par 5 that is a little bit tricky, especially from front tee. And the reason for that is that even if we do have a tailwind or a crosswind or a headwind, we can't really carry over the water completely there, because I would love to take a shortcut over the water, which would allow us for a much better chance on the second shot with either a short iron or a long iron. But as we do not have the wind to do that, and we don't really have to we don't really have the ball or the club to do that, so we have to kind of cut the corner in the best possible way. And as we do have a limited amount of curl, I can't really use much more topspin than 4.5 bars. So maximum distance plus 20, as it is fairly downhill from tee, and we're trying to get as far as possible. Now, the drive is not necessary to be played with a power 5 ball, but the second shot most definitely are, because the second shot, if we take a look at how it looks here now, sure, if we do have a ball that do have a lot of side spin, we could maybe go for a rough bump or a bounce up shot in that way, or we're gonna have to go just above the bunker by using a lot of backspin with our Guardian. Sure, you can maybe back up and bounce before the rough and the sand, but the issue there is that you're gonna come in too hot, and that's never really gonna be a drop chance. Now, this result of this shot is not really gonna be my best that I've done in Golf Clash, because I adjust the wrong numbers. However, though, you can see the ID by removing the bunker and the rough from play completely, which means that I'm gonna have, first and foremost, a super easy way of getting an eagle. Second of all, if with a little bit of luck, adjusting the correct numbers, then we're gonna get ourselves a nice way of attacking the pin for an albatross. 5% elevation, true club distance. So here I should have played max, but I played medium distance instead, which was yuck. So in the end, getting a close one for an eagle, and I mean, you know, I can't really complain much about that. Tough and long hole on hole number 6. On hole number 7 of the Quail Hollow, we are going to push the drive as hard as we possible can. Here, having a tailwind will most likely reward us into getting to short iron, but where we do have like a minor tailwind, but mainly a crosswind or even a headwind, is going to be a long iron towards the pin. Playing with a power 3 ball is enough for that, but sure, you can play with a power 5 ball as well to ensure that you are going to get even closer. Adjust max no elevation, all the curl that I can with extra mile, which is a little bit more than half a ball, and try to hit perfect with max overpower. Goal here is obviously, once again, to reach as far down the fairway possible. There isn't many obstacles here. This is a fairly straightforward hole. The only thing is that it is a bit long for being a par 4. Now, second shot, as we did reach into long iron range, we're gonna play with the one that gives us the best ball guideline. Unfortunately, I don't have a better ball guideline than playing with the Goliath. And then I'm going to have to estimate to how the ball will bounce towards the pin, which is most definitely something that is very difficult to do accurately every time. So I'm gonna aim slightly short, as obviously I don't have the full ball guidelines. So I can't estimate, I can estimate, but I can't know for certain how the ball how long the ball will roll, and I don't want to come in too hot. No elevation, true club distance, and we're going to center the ball and hit perfect. Perfect ball it is, and you're gonna see that we're gonna bounce on the fairway, getting a pretty high second bounce down towards the pin, getting it dead center for a lovely eagle here on Quail Hollow, hole number 7. For hole number 8 of the Quail Hollow, this is a very short par 3 and there isn't really many obstacles here, so this should be a very good chance for a drop. I'm aiming slightly left of the bunker to avoid that bunker completely, using somewhere between 3 to 4 bars of backspin depending on what type of wind angle I'm going to have. Also using a little bit of a right spin to have the ball guideline to somewhat aim at the hole. The difficult part, or if we're gonna say the only difficult part here, is if you do not have a good ball guideline, with as I do have here with my Goliath, then it will be I guess if you're aiming at the hole or not with the less developed ball guideline. But if you're playing with a Grizzly level 7 or better, or for that matter a B52 level 7 or better, then you have a much better ball guideline and then you can aim much better, and that should increase the chances for an hole-in-one. Getting it close, but I mean, we have no reason to be scared about losing out on the birdie. It's gonna be a birdie here or it's gonna be a hole-in-one. Medium distance plus 10 is the adjustment here in hole number 8. Hole number 9 of the Quail Hollow. Here we're going to push the drive as hard as we possibly can. I've said this on all the par 5s, and that's because they are pretty long. Here we're gonna adjust max plus 10, and we're gonna use all the top spin that we can. I want us to have the sniper as our wood club, and I want us to have the long iron that gives us the best ball guideline possible. Even though I do hit great right here, there are so much room on this fairway that we should feel very comfortable by risking hitting great balls with overpower here, because even if a great right or a great left, there will be no issues of landing ourselves on the fairway. Now for the second shot, the reason I wanted you to pack the sniper is because if we don't get far enough, it's going to be a wood club towards the pin, but if we do get far enough, it's going to be a long iron. It's always going to be easier to drop a long iron than it will be a wood club from distance. So we are making sure to aim at a spot that gives us room to hit a great left, so we're not going into the bunker, and that we can hit a great right without going into the water. Using spins that is just slightly short of pin with the Goliath here, because the Goliath does not have a fully developed ball guideline. A Grizzly or a B52 will have to use the ball guideline to the hole instead, because they have a much better ball guideline with that club. No elevation and true club distance, and we're going to center the ball and hit perfect. To have that said, this is one of the par 5s where a power 5 ball may not be a crucial thing to use. You can actually use a power 3 ball or maybe even a power 2 ball and come around pretty easily. But I would like to push the drive hard. I want to have a long iron for the best possible drop chance. Then obviously it's up to you in what way you want to attack this par 5. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division for the Quail Hollow and the President's Cup here in Golf Clash. Make sure that you do go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and get the ultimate tournament guides for the President's Cup, but also to get anything for tour play or just for 18 holes when it comes to tournament play. We have something for each and every one of you. Thank you so much once again for watching, and a massive good luck in the President's Cup.